Council Agenda Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills Township Council Agenda Meeting of June 13th, 2023. Posting of notice. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board at the Municipal Building on December the 21st, 2022, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record and the Newark Star Ledger on December the 28th, 2022. Council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision, Public Access Channel 21 at 11 a.m. on Sundays, and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net. Would you please stand with us for the flag salute? Councilman Neglia.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Yeah, they moved the flag. Where'd it go? Exactly.
Oh, they moved it? Yeah. Who are you facing, the other way? It was always funny.
We done this way.
I did.
You gotta do a 360.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Karifi.
Here.
Mr. DePiero.
Here.
Mr. Musella.
Here.
Mr. Neglia.
Here.
Ms. Grignani.
Here.
Also in attendance are Mayor James Barbario, Business Administrator Jamie Cryan, Township Attorney Michael Lavery, and Municipal Clerk Colette Madden. Council President, we have a quorum. You may begin.
Thank you. Upcoming meetings. June 27th, 23 at 7 o'clock is our regular meeting. 7/11/23 at 7 o'clock is our agenda meeting. Mayor Barbario, do you have any presentations or reports?
I have reports. I'm going to start with the farmers market. On last Friday, the event was a big success. And I got a lot of accolades. The township got a lot of accolades for having the farmers market for the event itself. And it was really something that, you know, I appreciate the council that voted for the budget, that saw that there was a need. It was kind of funny because when we were there, a committee member asked, like, what's the return on the investment? I guess they thought making money. The return on the investment is our residents. You know, for several years, they were bogged down due to COVID, and it's a great community event. And I have to tell you, I know you were there, Loretta, I know you were there. I don't know if you were there, Frank, I don't remember seeing you, but...
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. But, it was great. I mean, the residents loved it, and I expect a lot, you know, we have bands coming as well. They also talked to me about, you know, the fireworks. I told them the fireworks is another event here in Parsippany that we've been doing for years. And I'm looking forward to the fireworks. Also, our summer concerts. The summer concerts is starting, I think, on July 13th will be the first one. It'll be the Thursday, and following the Thursday is the farmers market. We did get a donation from Provident Bank for $5,000 for the farmers market, so I'd like to thank them for that. Also, I received a big thank you from our senior citizens for the following, because I saw them at some of the farmers market. I saw some down at the community center. One thing they wanted to thank us for was for the rides to the stores, senior trips, a ride for our seniors to go to the doctors, cancer screeners, and dialysis. They thanked us for keeping that in the budget and for moving forward with them on that as well. And it meant a lot to them to have the senior trips. We haven't done senior trips in I don't know how long. So once again, I want to thank those that voted for the budget on that. Also, I would like to congratulate the candidates of Karifi, Candale, and McGrath on their victory, and also Hernandez, Clarkin, and Kavanaugh. I want to wish everybody tomorrow's Flag Day. It's the greatest flag in the world is behind me. I want to wish everybody a happy Flag Day, and for those fathers out there, happy Father's Day as well. Thank you.
Members of the Township Council?
I have a couple of things. About a year ago, I was bringing up the street dedication for Lee Carmel and Charlie Beatty.
I know.
I backed away from it because of the budget process, I didn't want to cloud the issue, but, the budget's done. I'm on my street dedication.
You're gonna get them. There'll possibly be another street dedication as well for another member. I'll discuss with you later on. But I did, ask the engineer to order the signs for the, Mr. Beatty and for Mr. Kimo.
Thank
Great.
you.
Good. Thank you.
One other item is, Narcan. I brought that up about 4 months ago. That the Sheriff's Department offers a free Narcan program with free Narcan kits to anyone who takes the program. And I recommended at that time that the township spend one morning or one afternoon and have someone from each department attend that, and council members, whoever would want to go, to be trained in Narcan. I'd still would like to see that happen.
Sure, we could actually have, like we do our harassment trainings and stuff like that, we could probably have something like that here, where certain departments would come on a certain day, they
Work it
can,
out with the
Yeah.
sheriff's department to have the.
we'll have the, JIF to do the safety meeting, and we can have that with our employees as well.
Good, okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Anyone else? Township Attorney, Mr. Lavery?
No report at this time, Council President.
I have a question for the township attorney.
Yes.
The status of the Mount Tabor Library.
Yes, we're just working on the term now. All the other, terms and conditions, I think, are fine and appropriate. It's just the term. The original request was 99 years, then it changed to 10. There's some issues with binding future councils, on a longer-term lease, so that's kind of what we're going back and forth on with Mr. O'Neill.
That discussion is between you and, who?
Well, I've discussed it with the mayor and then also Mr. O'Neill, who represents Mount Tabor.
Okay, so is the ball in your park or O'Neill's park? Who's
Well-
carrying the ball right now?
Well, right now, the ball was in, they had wanted 10 years, we had offered 1 year. So, I'm gonna be,
1 year is ridiculous.
well, the
How do you
problem-
plan ahead for 1 year?
Well-
You can't plan ahead for 1 year.
If you have 10 years, though, then you're binding future councils for, I mean, it's up to the, if the council would like to go to a longer term, that's fine, I'm just saying.
If we were gonna build a new municipal building, we have to fund it in 1 year because we can't bind future councils?
No. I didn't say you couldn't buy, I'm just saying that it's a budgetary thing that, you know, it's up to you. If you say, yeah, we want a 99-year lease or a 10-year lease, I'm fine with that. I'm just trying to do my job as the attorney and say, hey, you may want to do it on a shorter term, or if you do a 10-year, have a kick-out clause that says either party can get out, or, you know, depending on budgetary constraints 3 years from now. That's all.
All right, a kick-out clause I could go along with, but a 1 year agreement is, in my opinion, ridiculous. What if we built a municipal building? We can't bind future councils and mayors, to pay the
That's completely different.
No,
Let me just say.
It's financially committing future.
No, what we're doing is, what the attorney's saying is you're financially committing to a portion that we fund. We're funding the library, we're actually subsidizing with the money, so now that if you go for a 10-year, you're bound to those 10 years but if a future council comes in and says, well, we don't want to fund the library anymore, you're in the contract, and then there's no library because there's no money to fund it.
We're talking about, what, $75,000 a year
Yeah, I'm just saying, but you don't know what a future council might do.
out of an $80 million budget? All right, look, my suggestion, look into the opt-out,
Okay.
okay? But make it 10 years.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, Mayor?
Listen, I'm fine with it, but I don't want to bound the future council, that's all. But if it's an opt-out program, then we can opt out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Business Administrator, Mr. Cryan?
Thank you, Council President. Just real quickly, wanted to echo Mayor's sentiment about congratulating the candidates who ran and won, and all who took part in the election. And also a big thank you to Colette and his team for all of their efforts on Election Day. They began at 4 o'clock in the morning the night before, ended at close to midnight that night. It's a long day for them. And it doesn't matter how many people vote or how many people take part. they are in it regardless. So, thank you for your efforts. And to your
Good
team.
point.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank you,
back you
Jamie.
up on that too. Thank you, Colette, and your staff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colette.
And just happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And this weekend, just want to give a quick reminder about the Kiwanis Club hosting the Touch a Truck event, 11 to 3 at Liquid Church. Let me see if I have anything else.
When is that?
That is on Saturday. Yep.
11 to 3.
Thanks.
And
We're going to that.
that's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Township Clerk, Mr. Madden?
No report at this time, thank you.
Township Officers Committee reports? I do. Parsippany Economic Development Committee attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony at Bowman Engineering on Tuesday, June 1st. Bowman Consulting Group leased 11,765 square feet at 6 Campus Drive, relocating from Cedar Knolls. The next meeting of the Economic Development will be held on Wednesday, July 5th at 6:30 PM at 90 East Halsey Road, 3rd floor, conference room. The public is invited. Call Frank Cahill at 973-559-6000 for additional information. See any correspondence. Bids taken, 5/3/23 North Beverick Road Streetscape Phase 1. 2, 5/11/23, supplying various materials for various township departments. B, to be taken, 6/15/23 Mount Tabor Phase 1 Water Main Replacement. 2, 6/21/23 Brook Lawn Water Tank Rehabilitation. There are no quotations. I'd like to have an entertain a motion for open public session, please.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Neglia, seconded by Mr. Karifi. Roll call. Mr. Karifi?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Musella?
Yes.
Mr. Neglia?
Yes.
Mr. Grignani?
Yes.
Floor is open to the public on any matter.
My name is Bob Venezia. Councilman Musella identified 24 vacant positions in the 2023 budget that are costing taxpayers an estimated $1.3 million. None of that revenue is being paid out by the township for salaries and benefits, which means that eventually all of that 1.3 million will wind up in the budget reserve fund. The mayor has stated that eliminating some or all of the 24 vacant positions for the purpose of reducing taxes might trigger a credit downgrade by Moody's. Now I understand why. If some or all of those jobs were cut, up to $1.3 million would not flow into the budget reserve fund. Moody's might then consider the resulting reduced reserve amount to be inadequate, which could cause them to issue a credit rating downgrade. Because of this credit risk, I am not advocating that any of the 24 vacant positions should have been eliminated in order to reduce taxes this year. However, I am advocating that this administration and this council get control over the budget and develop a plan for 2024 that does not rely on zombie positions to artificially pump up the budget reserve fund. And while you're at it, transfers from the water and sewer utility surplus funds are another type of accounting gimmick used to increase reserves in the general budget. These also need to go in 2024. After so many years where the current administration blames the previous administration for all its budgetary problems, I believe that the public is fed up with the blame game and accounting gimmicks as well. It's time for this administration to own the budget and fix it once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Venezia.
I have a comment, if I may. Mr. Venezia, you apparently don't listen to some of the discussions that take place at the council meetings. Let me reiterate. The previous administration had a hiring freeze for 4 years. These department heads could not replace anyone who left the town, whether they retired or were fired, whatever. Those vacancies remained, not because they were unnecessary, they were not allowed to rehire. When Jamie took over as mayor, we had to put out the fires first. We had to take care of all the deficits that he inherited from the previous administration. So we couldn't hire all of those back. Police department was down, what, 12?
More than that.
Parks and Forestry down 8 or 9 or 10. DPW down 10 or 11. Okay? These are not unnecessary positions. These were critical positions. In fact, what they had to do for snow removal, we had a light year this year, fortunately, but it could have been different. But we were using Parks and Forestry to drive trucks if we needed to put salt down or plow, because we didn't have enough DPW people. These positions eventually have to all be filled. These departments need to run their departments with adequate manpower to do the job. And eventually, I have every expectation that we'll be filling all those vacancies because they need to be filled. We just can't do them all at once.
Well, then, can you explain to me why Moody's objects or might give us a credit rating downgrade for eliminating a position?
That's not what was said. They don't base it on, Moody's standard doesn't base it on your manpower. They base it on the amount of surplus that you can bring over based on the amount your budget is every year. So an example, if our budget's 80 million, they like to see 12% of that be surplus. That's their standards. In fact, they changed their standards. They made it more stringent, and we were lucky we weren't downgraded last year. But, you know, we're trying to do the best that we can. Let's get to the positions. They're not zombie positions. Those positions are very necessary. Our departments are running at such a low. Now, what will happen is if we don't fill them, I know you think it's saving the councilman told me 1.3 million, but you're gonna have to pay that in overtime. Because we have to man, we have to do our, we have to plow our roads.
Work has to get done.
Right, and things have to get done. You're gonna pay that amount of money somewhere, and it's gonna be in overtime. And overtime will come a lot quicker. Okay, when we talk about the surplus, if you bare bones it to a 0% tax increase, you're not gonna generate any type of surplus, because it's gonna go into your revenues that you bring in, so your expenses might exceed your revenues. I mean, that's really all this comes down to. I know you think that, and I'm not saying that you have your opinion, and I respect your opinion, but the bottom line is those positions need to be filled, and we're really due diligently trying to fill them. We had to wait till the estoppel period was done, which was June 6th, and now we're going to start hiring as many as we can to fill those positions. You heard during the budget hearing, the Parks and Forestries have 30 men for over 30 years. I mean, they've been working with 30 men, and now we have more parks, we have more, look, let's face it, you're gonna have 3,332 new units coming to Parsippany. You're gonna be manning those streets and those roads, so you know what? We're planning for the future. If you don't plan for it, you might not pay now, but you're gonna pay in the future, and that's all I was saying.
One more point. How many dead trees do you see when you drive up and down streets in Parsippany? The ash trees that are dead right now. I think every block has a few dead trees. And Parks and Forestry has not been able to stay ahead and remove all of those trees. Some of them are in danger now, that they could fall down. And some that have been taken down, they haven't been able to go back and grind the stumps for the same reason. They were short manpower. They couldn't do it.
If you fill these positions, wouldn't that take money away from the reserve fund and cause Moody's to
Wow,
possibly...
these are operating dollars.
Yeah, whatever money you don't spend does go over the surplus, okay? It does. But we're banking on having a really decent, forecast on revenues this year. That's where the surplus will probably come from. You'll have a revenue reserve that'll be higher than our expenses. That's what we're hoping for this year. It happened last year, we're hoping it to happen again. And when the new ratables come on board in 2024, like I said, you're looking at $200 million in ratables, times that by the rate, that's $6 million more revenue coming to the town. These are just projections, but these are the things that we have to go by.
Thank you, Mr. Venezia. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Nicholas Homyak. I've been exploring the Puddington Heights Community Facebook page, and apparently there hasn't been a zoning decision yet, but the developer up there is taking trees down and disturbing the site. So I don't understand how that can be allowed to happen if it's cart before the horse. How can you start work on a site that hasn't been given a variance yet? So I know it's a Mossberg thing, and he's kind of used to, doing what he wants in a town. But to me, there's something wrong there. And I doubt whether he has any permits to take those trees or disturb that property at all. And during the water view episode, when they started taking the trees down, they ignored the bats. So I would ask this town to enforce ordinances to protect the wildlife that inhabits this part of the world and lives and spends part of their life in Parsippany. So, for example, up there in Puddington Heights, he's taking down those trees. How many trees? What age? When did he begin? And was there any surveys done for the endangered bats? I doubt it. For the Indiana bats, I doubt it. The same thing happened there. Parsippany didn't let the developer do all of that with no regard to other forms of life that live amongst us on this earth. I just would like to read you something. I hope that you're familiar with a gentleman in the past. He's known as the father of modern ecology, Aldo Leopold. He actually spent a lot of time here in New Jersey. Very simple. All ethics so far evolved rest upon a single premise, that the individual is a member of a community of interdependent parts. The land ethic simply enlarges the boundaries of the community to include soils, waters, plants, and animals, or collectively the land. And if we claim to be Tree City and all of this progress and tax ratables, we should make sure that we're not harming any other form of life. And I think it's wrong that we don't have a higher standard toward our environment, because the earth is not what it used to be. So we're within 10 miles of that Hibernian, which means there could be endangered bat, the long-eared or the Indiana bat. Could very well, we might find one here, and that would be a great thing. But if we don't look for it, at least before we take down the trees or start a project, to me that's terrible. And what I'd like to know, how much time does Parks and Forestry spend at the Knoll Golf Course? Because they seem to spend a lot of time down there, and I think they are responsible for a lot of those healthy trees that were removed recently to expand the lawn. Yeah, I see Parks and Forestry trucks down there over the years a lot. And I'll give you another example. Right now, we're in an abnormally dry condition. You know what that means for vegetation? It doesn't grow. The grass doesn't grow. And I seen the guys yesterday, they're cutting the grass. Well, what are you cutting the grass for if it's not growing? They should be somewhere else cleaning up South Beverwick Road or, they could do other duties assigned.
Nick, you have 30 seconds.
That's when somebody's working for a department, but you're keeping him gainfully employed. We don't have any work for you over here, so we'd like you to do this today. And usually you don't have a problem. But to cut the grass, to me, is a waste of time and energy, and you're not making things better. You're actually making them worse, and they could be employed doing something better. So not only, like I said before, the money in the budget, how's the money being spent, how's the workforce being utilized, and think out of the box a little bit. If you're in the dry spell and the grass isn't growing, don't cut the grass. Have the guys do something else.
Only thing I can speak on, oh, you have more time? Go ahead.
No, it's time's up.
Only thing I can speak on is the fact the trees that I wasn't the mayor at the time. Parsippany-Troy did not remove those trees. They had to be, the Knoll had to hire them. They did not remove those trees, from what I understand.
I see parks and forestry trucks down there. Until you,
I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
that, in that incident, I don't think that's what happened. Because,
You're correct. The workforce at the Knoll removed those trees,
it wasn't Parsippany-Troy.
and they replaced the trees in most of that area and planted grass in the other area.
replacing a tree doesn't make up for a mature tree that you take down. They're two different things.
They took them down because the USGA recommended that particular green, had too much shade, was not, during the fall, when we had frost, that green was being damaged, and you needed to take down the trees so the sun could hit that green. That's why they were taken down.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor.
Recommendation of the USGA.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
and
Mr.
not
Mayor.
Green Acres. Green Acres was not consulted.
Thank you, sir.
Regarding, Pudding Stone, you mentioned, it's Pudding Stone you were talking about, I assume.
Yeah.
There are different phases to that project. One of those phases is nearing completion. They had all the permits to go through that phase. This is a different phase where they want to relocate two existing old houses and push them further back into the woods. And I understand that will involve taking down something like 400 trees. And there are lots of residents up in arms, all of Pudding Stone is up in arms. That application is now before the Board of Adjustment. So we on the council, since we appoint the Board of Adjustment, cannot give our opinions on an application before the Board of Adjustment. So we must all not be involved in that.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to come up and speak?
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Musella, seconded by Mr. Karifi. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Mr. Musella.
Yes.
Mr. Neglia.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Floor is closed.
Ordinance, please review. First, A and B.
No questions?
Okay, non-consent agenda, resolution, R 2023-082, approving and authorizing retail liquor license renewals for licensing term July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Motion to approve the resolution above by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Mr. Neglia. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Mr. Musella.
Yes.
Mr. Neglia. Ms.
Yes.
Grignani.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution 2023-083, authorizing the execution of an amendment to historic preservation easement agreement for the Smith Baldwin House. Motion to approve the resolution above by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, seconded by Mr. Musella. Roll call. Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Mr. Musella.
Yes.
Mr. Neglia.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Motion passes.
R 2023-084,
authorizing the township to enter into an agreement with the County of Morris and the State of New Jersey for the continuation of a consortium to conduct the Home Investment Partnership Program. Motion to approve the resolution made by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Musella, seconded by Mr. Karifi. Roll call. Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Mr. Musella.
Yes.
Mr. Neglia.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Consent agenda. Councilman, would you please review any questions, if you have any?
Well, you mentioned, tabling item 9.
Yes. Item 9 will be tabled.
Need a motion?
Motion.
Just why are we tabling it?
We need to have more information on it. We were not informed.
I requested it to be tabled, so I didn't have the information on it.
So who's the motion by?
Frank Neglia?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Neglia, seconded by Mr. Karifi to motion item number 9 on the consent agenda. Roll call.
Don't we
Mr.
normally need a date to when we're tabling it to, like to the next meeting?
We could, if you'd like,
You can
sure, we'll
to
table
the- You
it.
can table it to the next meeting.
So then we don't even need to table it then, because it'll just be on the next agenda. We don't even need to table it. We'll just leave it until you get more information. In the event that you're not satisfied, Mayor, then we will table it then.
In 2 weeks, we'll just vote on it.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Approval of payroll and bills list. Approval of payroll and bills list. CFO Leonard Ho recommends authorization for payment. Authorized payment of the June 9, 2023 regular miscellaneous payroll estimated at $1,720,000. Payment of bills from voucher list of 6/1/23 through 6/3/23 is $1,887,085.37. Motion to approve the authorization for payment above by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Neglia, seconded by Mr. Musella. Roll call. Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Mr. Musella.
Yes.
Mr. Neglia.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Anything else before we adjourn?
Don't believe so.
Nope.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Mr. Neglia. Roll call. Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Mr. Musella.
Yes.
Mr. Neglia.
Yes.
And Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Have a good night, everyone.
Heading up.